Watching today's video is important because, well, one, it's important, you should be watching them every day, but two, we're changing some things up in here to make it simpler. I'm changing the directions for the homework. So let's start by looking at a couple vocab words. So first of all, the following definitions. Okay, a sequence, which is what we're dealing with here. A sequence is an ordered list of numbers that forms a pattern. There are a couple types of sequences that we will deal with throughout an algebra course, but this year we're just going to be focusing for now on one of them. An example of a sequence is you start at the number 3 and then you go 10, 17, 24, and 31. And each number in a sequence has a term that goes with it. So if we came back up here, this is our first term, this is our second term, this is our third term, etc. So you can identify them. So what is the third term of this sequence? It's 17. And then this is one of the other important things, the definition of a common difference. It says a sequence whose difference between any two consecutive terms is constant. That's what we're dealing with today. And usually it's going to be a yes or a no. And if it's a yes, you might continue the pattern. If it's a no, you can't continue the pattern. So if we look down here, the way we start working with these sequences is we start to check the difference between each one. And the difference between every two consecutive numbers in the sequence is 13. That is what the common difference is. So we would write that the CD, or the common difference, is 13. We could also continue this on. Sometimes they would ask you something like, find the 7th term. So we know that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the 6th term, we would add 13, and that would become 91. And then we would add, so we're adding 13 there. And then we add 13 one more time, and we end up at 104. So that would be the 7th term. Over here is an example of that is something that is not an arithmetic sequence. Okay, instead of arithmetic, and yes, we do say it arithmetic. In this case, it's not arithmetic. Arithmetic. This is actually geometric because you're multiplying. What's happening here is we are timesing by 3 each time. So 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 3 is 27, 27 times 3 is 81. And what you would notice that they get really big in a hurry because you're multiplying instead of adding. Now, not all non-arithmetic sequences multiply. As we go to some of our examples, it says, tell whether the sequence is arithmetic, and if it is, give the common difference. And also, I want you to find, so since a lot of these have, looks like 5 or 6 numbers, so let's find I also want you to find, we'll do the 8th term, because that's something that you're going to have to do on your quiz and test. Find the 8th term. So I'm adding something here, and that's only when you get a yes answer. So here we are going up by 7, and you do want to add the plus sign here. So we're adding 7 each time, because there are some times that your sequences can go down. All right, so we check that. We're going up by 7. So what is the 8th term? Well, this is the 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th term. So we need to go 6, 7, and 8. So we end up at 39, and then we add 7 again, and we end up at 46, and we add 7 again, and we end up at 53. So our common difference is we are adding 7, and the 8th term is 53. And these are the only 6 examples that we're doing today. Now what happens here, you'll notice that we go down 64 But then here, I go down 32. So as soon as that happens, and you show me your work, it's not hard to show work on these. As soon as that happens, the answer is now no, and you're done with the problem. Here, you're going to see we go down 3 every time. Down 3. Down 3. So that is our common difference. Our common difference is that we are subtracting 3. So I could go, again, extend this out and do 6, 7, and 8, and keep subtracting 3 from these terms, and we end up at 19, 16, 13. So the 8th, and really I should write 8th term, the 8th term is 13. In this sequence here, you're actually multiplying by a negative. You notice I was going from positive and negative? So the difference between these two terms, the difference between 1 and negative 2 is you went down 3, then we went up 6. So the answer is no there. What's happening there is you're multiplying by a negative 2, so that's why it keeps flipping back and forth between a positive and negative. Here, this one's a little trickier, but we are adding 2.5, and that is consistent all the way through here. So I checked them real quick. We're adding 2.5. I think I missed one in there, but you catch the drift. We're adding 2.5. So that's my common difference. Common difference, we're adding 2.5. And my 8th term, so 1, so it's the first term, second. The third term is 0, fourth term, fifth term. I know it's a little confusing there with commas and the periods. So you go 6, 7, 8. So that goes to 7.5, 10, and then 12.5. So the 8th term, 12.5. Last one here, we have a difference of 0, we have a difference of 1. That's an answer of no. That's all we're doing with this. There's a formula we could use. So and if you notice, we're on page 14. And now we skip down and we're all of a sudden on page 18. There are some formulas on page 15 and 16 we could teach you, but we're just running out of time and we really want to get another quiz and test in because we feel like this test could help boost some of your grades if you guys put in the effort. So if you're looking at how do I save my grade? How can I rebound here? You got to have a good quiz score, a good test score, and then most importantly, anybody could still pass the class in theory if you score high enough on the exam. So we're going to do the same thing here, except I'm going to have you find the, I'm looking ahead here, all these have 5 numbers to them, so I want you to find the 7th term. Again, that is if it's a yes. And look down here, we're going to change this. We're not doing that. We're not doing 11 and 12, but we are going to do 13. Because this right here was just a little story problem that you can figure it out. And actually it does use the number 7 again. So we are doing 1 through 10, and then we're also going to do 13. And we are following these directions for all of this. 1 through 10 and 13. We're not doing those directions. Decide whether it's arithmetic. Yes or no. Identify. So we're doing that first. Find the common difference. Find the 7th term. So I need to see that on all 3 of those. Show your work just like we did up here. And that is it. So it should be a quick Monday, just patterns. That's your goal, is to identify arithmetic sequences. And have a good day.